Last week, I invited to a competition full of dancers from many places all over the world, and I discovered some important points I would like to share with you. Before to explain to you the points I discovered or I found, I would like to talk with you about the competition. Competition is not the end of the world. Competition is a place we sit together and we talk together. Sometimes we share our knowledges also, or show each other our types of dancing and how we upgrade it in dance and many things like that. But sometimes the dancers feel upset if they have a little score or something like this, and sometimes they feel that there was a mistake with them, had happened with them, or many points like this way. Believe me, the competition, as I told you, it is not the end of the world, and for myself, sometimes I dislike the competition because I feel it is not comfortable for all of us. Why? Because we became nervous. Sometimes I see some dancers, they do something very good, but suddenly I found they had a little score, or other dancer beat the first one or the second one, and so on and so on. The competition, it is type of game, as I say. It is not real dancing as the meaning of dance, because dancing is completely different than competition. Step by step, I will explain to you in this video. The competition, we show each other how we can do these wonderful types of dancing, or these types of steps, or different types of steps. Sometimes also I find that the organizer didn't pay attention to the best dancer or the best choreography or something like that. In competition, or the judgments or the judges in the competition, they has to pay attention for the dancers, for their feelings, for the type of dancing, the dance steps, the story behind dancing, or the story within this type of dance they are doing or performing in front of them. In addition, also the music, the song, and the costumes. Many points we have to take care when we're going to judge the dancers or the performers in front of us. But sometimes I find that the organizer chooses strange judges for many reasons or hidden reasons. It's not our main point now, but this can take us away of the judgment, and we can give strange scores sometimes, or we can find the strangest scores sometimes for the dancers. This is very quickly the competition, which I hate, of course, because I know that each one of you, each one of us has their own or our own feeling, let me say something like this, which they spread it on the stage or spread it to the audience. And how can I judge your feeling like this way? It is because of my feeling, or because of the story in dancing, or what, or how? This is also another point. Anyway, this is very quickly the competition and what I love to share with you about it. And now, let's go now to the points what I discovered or what I found. I will talk about the music. The music, it is similar like the sentences, or like our talking. And if I speak with you with a strange language, immediately you will not understand me. And sometimes I can use some words if I don't understand the language itself. If I use a strange word, maybe it will be a strange for you, and suddenly you will not understand me. Sometimes also, if I use the wrong sentences through my talking, you will not understand me very clear. It is similar also with the music. There are many different types of music, of course we know, and of course we dancing on them, or most of them, but sometimes the composers are not educated enough in music, so they use strange tones or strange music. Suddenly, for example, I'm going on this beat, and suddenly I found myself in another beat immediately, or something like that. And sometimes, yes, also when they changing the musical instruments through their composing, sometimes can give us a strange feeling, or we hear something very strange. It is exactly the same when I am talking with you and suddenly I change my voice, or I change my way of talking, or suddenly I change my language either, or using different types of words out of my talking or out of my story I'm telling you. So this is also in dancing, I'm sorry, this is also in music, and the musicians or the composers sometimes do something like this way. Immediately when I'm going to dance on this music, and I know exactly, or my ear understood exactly the beat, and suddenly I found that my ear doesn't understand what I'm hearing now, but because I am a foreigner, I do my dance steps onto this music like the way I'm dancing, without knowing exactly that is a mistake in this music. I'm not asking about the montage, because sometimes, but this is rare, I know. Sometimes we can do some wrong montage when we cut the music, and can do something like this way, but I'm talking really about the composing. The composers sometimes, or I heard some music from composers, I feel that they are not educated, they don't understand what are they doing. Of course, the song is okay, but the music in behind, or the music in the back, it is not correct with the song say, or with the singer. And sometimes we use only the music like this way, which can take us away of our dancing. This is the first point, which please take care when you're going to choose your music. You have to choose the correct music for your dancing, and you have to choose also the right music, same as the language, same as your choreography, same as the dance steps, what are you doing on the stage. About that song, of course, as I told you before, we have to understand the story of the song, or the story of the music we're going to dance, or we're going to use. And we have to understand the lyrics very well. I'm not talking about the complete lyrics, let me tell you something like this way. I have to understand some words, or the main meaning of the song, I mean the lyrics, which I will use it inside my choreography, either through my feeling or through a part of my body, because sometimes I do some steps not belongs to the main meaning of the music or the song. So if I don't understand the lyrics or some parts of the lyrics, I will do something completely different, which can let the audience not be attention with me or be with me all the time. So I have to take their attention by this way, either by understanding the lyrics, and I do some dance steps or some movements using special parts of my body, or some parts of my body, or I have to understand the story and I can explain the story with my body. This is very important point, so we have to take care when we're going to use the music with song, to be very clear when we're going to perform on the stage using these music and songs. Some singers, we have to be careful when we're going to use the music and the songs, because it can take us away if we don't understand what are they doing or what are they saying on their music or on their songs, such as Kulthum, for example. Kulthum songs are very important for most of us. All of us love her very much and love dancing onto her music and song, because it has a deep feeling for most of us, of course. I mean the Egyptians and the European people too. And now her song became much more famous in many places all over the world. It depends on this deep feeling what I'm talking with you now. So for this reason, we have to understand exactly the meaning of the song, the meaning of her song, to use her songs while we are dancing, or suddenly or immediately, as I watched many dancers do something like this. They go out of the music or out of the meaning, I mean the meaning. Of course, they dancing on the beat, which is okay, no problem in this, or they dancing onto the music, no problem in this, but the main point is I feel strange, and many audience, they feel strange when they found her doing something, the dancer doing something uncomfortable. For example, she talk about love but they cry, or she talk about something to cry but they laugh on the stage, something like that. Or sometimes she talking about someone traveled since long time and she miss him, but suddenly the dancer do something looks like he is in front of her and they love each other, something like that. It is completely different than the main meaning of the song. So for this reason, we feel that the dancer is a way of dancing because our feeling completely different than what she is doing on the stage or performing on the stage. It is the same with Halim, it is the same with Farid. So for this reason, take care please when you're going to choose any type of this music and songs. You have to know exactly the story, at least you know, or you have to understand some of the lyrics, words, and then you can translate it by your body. I have to study the beat of the music very well and the tone, because sometimes I can or sometimes I see dancers, they use it in a wrong way, and also sometimes I see the dancers doing some steps out of the beat or out of the tone, which can take them away of the dancing for the audience. Let me tell you something. I can calculate the music by 1, 2, 3, 4, or sometimes 1, 2, 3, 4. When I do fast dance step, or I make it slower dance step, or I do it in a slow way. This is very important also in dancing, because sometimes I see the dancers when they're going to dance on the stage, or when they're going to perform their choreography in front of us, suddenly they go fast and immediately slow, and suddenly once more again fast, and so on and so on. It is like that. It is not correct to do something like this. I have to jump from the slow to the fast by a special way. Of course, I think all of you know. Or if I do the slow steps, I can do it for a while, then when exactly I go in a fast step and something like this, or vice versa. So you have to study exactly the tone, you have to study exactly the beat, and you have to understand how you can catch the beat and which beat, because we have many different rhythms in any song we use. So how can I use these different rhythms, and how can I jump from this rhythm to the second one, to the third one, and go back again to the first one, the main rhythm, and so on and so on. This is very important. Keep in mind all the time to know exactly this point, and step by step, or later I will explain to you much more about these points. For this reason, if this is first time you watch this video, or this is first time watching the channel or visiting the channel, please make sure to hit the subscribe button below to receive my next videos, which will be much more about dancing and how we can use the music, the beat, how we can catch the beat, and what is the difference between the rhythms, what are we doing on the stage. We have to understand all parts of our bodies very well, and we have to know exactly how we can move, or how we can use all of them together, or part of them together, or some of them together, and something like this. Because sometimes I see dancers, when they're going to dance, they forget completely part of their bodies, and the other parts, they use the other parts, and sometimes they forget 2 or 3 parts of their bodies and they use the rest. It is something like that, which it is completely difficult to let me know exactly what she is doing on the stage, and of course it is wrong. So we have to know all parts of our bodies, and we have to understand the weak and the strong steps, and which step it is the correct step in or for this part of my body, which I will use it on the stage. So I have to understand this point very well to know exactly when I use this part or I don't use it, and something like this way. So this is very important point. I love to share with you, yes, also to know exactly how to use the parts of your body when you're going to perform on the stage. We have to study many dance steps. I mean, for many different types of dances, because if I don't study most of the dance steps belongs to all these types of dancing, suddenly I will find myself cannot do or cannot perform the correct or the wonderful Oriental dancing. This is exactly let us sometimes do a mix between the Oriental dancing and belly dancing. For this reason, I have to know all these types of dance steps or most of them, and I choose the correct dance step which I will use it inside my choreography. For example, I see sometimes also that dancers mix it between the Upper Egyptian and the North Egyptian in their way of movements, I mean in dancing. So they mix it, the former dance, for example, between the North and Upper Egypt. This is one example, but there are a lot of examples I can tell you. But anyway, so we have to understand and to study much more types of dancing which we can use it in our dancing or performing on the stage. I have to be careful when I'm going to choose the costume and I use it in my performance, because sometimes I see some dancers, they choose a wrong costume for their performance, such as, for example, in Alexandrian dance or the Alexandrian costume. Normally in Milaya Laf we have many different types of Milaya. In Egypt we have Alexandrian Milaya Laf, we have Delta, we have Cairo, and of course, as I told you before, we have Upper Egyptian Milaya dance. But the main point is I have to know exactly which type of costume I use in all of these different types of Milaya dancing. I found or I watched that I saw that some dancers, they used the Alexandrian costume in Milaya dancing, but for Cairo or for Delta, which is completely wrong. For this reason, we have to be careful and take care when we're going to use the costume. And sometimes, yes, also I found that they put some accessories which not belongs to the area they are dancing or they perform their dance on the stage. So also the accessories are the same. This is very important point I love to share with you too. This was my video for today, which I hope you like it. And of course, I will be waiting for your comments and your questions if you have any question. And I will be waiting for you once more again in my next video. Thank you very much and see you in my next video.